All right, this is Clayton County Magistrate Court preliminary hearing calendar. Today's date is April the 27th. This is the matter of State of Georgia versus Naira Keene and warrant numbers 2026 WA 04356, 357, 358, 359, 360, 361, 362, 363, 364, 365. 366, 367, and 368. All parties are present and have announced ready to proceed with their hearing. 88 Thomas, you can present the state.
Thank you, Your Honor. Detective, can I get you to raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear and affirm that the evidence you should give before the court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You can put your hand down, state your name for the record.
Detective K. Campbell, Clayton County Narcotics Unit.
And Detective Campbell, were you so employed on or about February the 27th of 2026?
I was.
And did you have occasion to respond to investigate an incident that occurred at 8050 Taylor Road?
I did.
And is that within the confines of the city of Riverdale, Clayton County?
It is.
Now, did this incident or did this investigation involve a Naira Keene?
It did.
Could you please advise the court what brought you to that location? What was the nature of your investigation with Ms. Keene?
On or before the date of 1/22/2026, I received information of drug distribution from the location that you stated previously. Upon several months, days of surveillance from this location, I observed several vehicles going in and out from this location. Based on my knowledge, training, and experience, that's consistent with drug trafficking. We did a pick off from that location, which we end up confiscating approximately an ounce of marijuana. Based on that, I determined that possible drug distribution was occurring from this location.
Okay, let me stop you right quick, just for clarification. What is at this location? This is an apartment or a house?
It's an apartment, ma'am. Apartment number 808.
How are you able to determine? Apartments tend to have a lot of traffic because multiple individuals, multiple families live there, correct?
That's correct.
How are you able to distinguish the high level of traffic for this specific unit?
Doing observation, we'll position ourselves so that we can see from the door individuals going directly to the apartment door. Also, to make sure that there's any children who possibly might live there. Tags information from individuals who actually leave that location. The tag number was registered to identify individuals that might be staying there or individuals that are just doing fast turnarounds or what we call hand-to-hand. If individual that we observe there from the day to the night, if he comes out to certain vehicles, hand something to an individual, and we'll have somebody follow that individual, have a marked vehicle, pull them over a ways away from the location to try to determine, to make sure that they didn't stop anyplace else. And based on that traffic stop, or we observe some kind of a probable cause to pull that vehicle over, and if they have a smell of marijuana or something of that nature, or consensual search of the vehicle if we find drugs coming from that location.
So you mentioned something that I thought was interesting. You said turnaround. So does that mean a person just goes and they're out 10 minutes later?
Yes, ma'am.
And did that happen multiple occasions?
It happened on some occasions, yes.
Okay. And was any of this captured on video?
It was not.
Now, what drew you all to directly go to the residence on this date?
I received information from an individual, a confidential informant, that drug sales were occurring at this specific location.
Did you all attempt to make a buy from that location?
We did.
And do you recall who you came into contact in transacting that, making that transaction?
Yes, we came in contact with Graham Kevion, Kevion.
Okay. And what was purchased?
The first purchase was several ecstasy pills from the location. If you give me a minute, I'll give the first.
Were there multiple purchases? I'm not gonna hold you up. Were
Oh
there
yes,
multiple purchases from this particular individual
it was two
on the same date or different dates and times?
different dates and times.
Were there any purchases or anything with Miss King?
No.
What happened involving Miss King?
When we executed the search warrant on the 27th that you stated, Miss King was at that location within. Once the SWAT team went in, secured the location, Miss King was found inside the location. Several drugs were found in open view. So Miss King was inside the location when the search warrant was executed.
Now, were you able to establish whether or not Miss King actually lives there?
I was not able to establish if she actually lived there, but she did have several clothing items that was in the location that would be consistent with somebody that resides there.
What about any mail or anything like that?
I did not see any mail that had Miss King's information on there.
What about driver's license, something like that?
I do not recall if her driver's license was there.
Did she make any statements to you all as to what was going on or what she was doing there?
She did not wish to talk to us in reference to that.
Okay. And was she found within proximity of any? I think you listed quite a bit of drugs and stuff. Was she found in proximity of any of this stuff?
Yes. If you walk into that location, the majority of the drugs were found in open view in the kitchen of the location. The the cocaine, ecstasy pills, Percocets, all that stuff was in open view.
Now, were there any weapons found at the location?
Yes, there were.
How many? Do you recall?
Approximately 4.
Do you recall what type of weapons were found at the location?
If you give me, there was a Glock 40. Also, had ammunition located. There was a Glock 27 located. There was a HWM revolver revolver located in that location. A Glock 30 as well, and a Glock 19.
Now, we talking about handguns because I don't know a Glock 30 from a Glock 90.
They're all handguns. Yes, ma'am.
Were any of them equipped with a silencer or anything like that?
No, they didn't have a silencer, but one of them did have a switch located on it.
What is that? What is a switch?
That is to make it go into automatic. So most weapons, when you fire them, they don't have the automatic. It's sort of like a machine gun. So you just press the trigger and it'll just offload all the ammunition that's in the clip.
And is that having what you describe as a switch? Is that illegal?
It is.
Is it something that you can buy? Can you buy a gun with that on it?
No, ma'am.
That has to be added?
Not legally. You can't buy it.
Okay. Did I believe you said it was Mr. Graham, I'm sorry. Did Mr. Graham make any statements to you about the drugs that were at the scene and the weapons?
He did. He stated that all the drugs and the weapons, everything in the house was his, that he did not want his lady to be charged with any of the weapons after waiving his Miranda rights.
So he claimed everything in the house,
He did.
and she said nothing.
No.
About how much powder cocaine was found?
There was approximately 281 grams.
What about MDMA? How much of that?
The MDMA, it was around 52 grams.
And the cocaine, where was that found?
I was located in the kitchen, ma'am.
The MDMA, was that in the kitchen also?
Yes, ma'am.
What about the oxycodone?
Uh, that was found in the kitchen as well.
Uh, there were two groups of oxycodone. Well, actually three. Oxycodone was found in three different places in the room, in the apartment.
You give me a minute to review the inventory sheet.
Sure. Maybe he'd be allowed to refresh his recollection.
Yes.
And Judge, I don't have a copy. I have a copy of the warrant, but I don't have a copy of whatever inventory document he's referencing.
I'm looking at the warrant, Miss Callan.
Okay, okay. Is Detective Campbell looking at the warrant as well, or is he looking at
I
something?
would assume, but I don't know.
I'm
Detective,
looking at the inventory sheet that's left at the scene upon execution of the search warrant.
and that I do not have.
Neither do I.
Also, do you recall off the top of your head how much marijuana was found? Or do you need to look at the inventory sheet for that?
I'm looking at the warrant. The warrant lists all this stuff on it.
Okay. If you have all that, I'm going to move on to my next question. I want to hold the court up.
Attorney Cannon, you had a warrant with all this stuff listed on it?
Yes, Judge, I do.
Okay. I'll move on. It's all on there. And were you the one that talked to Miss Keene at the time?
It was another detective that talked to him that advised that she waived her rights.
Okay. And was any of this recorded in any type of way?
It was.
And where is that? Is it recorded audio, video, what?
Both, ma'am.
Okay. And is that video in police custody?
It is.
Where's all the drugs?
They're in our evidence, and also it's been shipped off to GBI for testing.
Okay. And what about the guns?
Also in evidence.
Okay. I believe that's all I have reserved right for redirect.
All right. Any cross-examination?
Yes, Judge, just briefly. Detective Campbell, I believe your testimony was that you all surveillanced the apartment for a few days prior to executing the search warrant?
Months.
Months?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is it you that's doing the surveillance or someone else?
Most of the time it will be me, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Did you ever observe Miss Keene coming to the apartment during your surveillance?
I did observe an individual. I didn't know that it was her at the time. I did observe them leave at one point and go to a furniture store, leaving together.
Okay. And when the search warrant was executed, where in the home was Miss Keene?
I believe she was in the bedroom.
Okay, so she wasn't in the kitchen, was she?
No, ma'am.
Okay. The firearms that you all cited in your warrant. We can start with a revolver. Where was that located in the home?
Again, let me. Okay, the revolver was located in. Glock was in the kitchen. That was located in the kitchen, ma'am.
Okay. I guess to make it easy, were there any firearms located in the bedroom?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And I believe the state asked you about mail, that you guys didn't locate any mail that belonged to Miss Keene at the apartment with that address on it, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And after waiving his Miranda rights, Mr. Graham accepted responsibility and ownership of all of the contraband that you all located inside the apartment.
He did.
Okay. No further questions, Judge.
All right. Any follow-up, ADA Thomas?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Any other evidence or witnesses on behalf of the state?
Not at this time.
All right, Ms. Callan, did you have any evidence or any
No
testimony?
evidence, Judge, just argument.
Okay. ADA Thomas?
Your Honor, I'll reserve.
Judge, I'm going to ask, there are a lot of warrants in this case. I could count them, but Judge, I'm asking for each warrant that was taken out against Miss Naira Keene be dismissed in this case. I understand that when we talk about possession, that Miss Keene is in the apartment, but she's not in the bed, she's not in the kitchen where any of the contraband was located. And then on top of that, her co-defendant accepted ownership and he accepted possession. Really, he said all this stuff belonged to him, and that none of it was hers. She's not in the location where any of this stuff is found. And then on top of that, she doesn't live at this home, Judge. She doesn't have. There's been no evidence presented to show that that this is her residence. No ID that shows this is her residence. No mail. She just happens to be present. So, Your Honor, with the evidence that's been presented, I'm going to ask for the court to dismiss each warrant that's been taken out against Ms. Keene.
All right, ADA Thomas?
Your Honor, I would concede that the officer indicated that he didn't find any mail there. However, what he was able to establish is that there are clothing period and possessions there that belong to Ms. Keene. Further, he said something interesting that I didn't know until he mentioned it, that he actually, during the course of his observation over a period of months, observed them actually furniture shopping. That, if nothing else, establishes she lives there. The fact that she lives there and all of this stuff is laid out in the kitchen for the most part established that she was well aware of what was going on and what her boyfriend was doing, and likely was a participant in some type of way of the activity. The state would ask at this point in time that there's sufficient evidence to bind over the case in its entirety to the Superior Court.
All right, after hearing evidence and testimony, the court will find sufficient probable cause to bind the case over. The items were in the common area of the house, in the kitchen, so it's enough for probable cause. So this matter is adjourned.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you,
Detective, you're
Judge.
free to go.
Thank you.
And Judge, that concludes my business. May I be excused?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Judge, Officer Elliott is here for Justice Trudell. That's Mr. Rogers' case.
Okay. All right. I think, true there. Okay. Is that, you said that's Mr. Rogers, that's your case?
That's
Trudell,
what I have it is.
yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. All right, as soon as they bring Mr. Trudell up, we'll start that one.
Yes, ma'am.